In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Commander Bly for the Black Series 6-inch line. At the time, he was a highly anticipated action figure, and unfortunately, over the years, it seems like his prices stay consistently about the same. So I didn't get this guy until 2022. I think it was in March or April. I mentioned in my Black Series Commander Cody video that I got these two at the same exact time, and I know I only paid retail price for him. So he was still in production for the longest time, and I think even now, a couple years later, you can still get on sites like eBay, and he's still relatively affordable and easy to get hold of. But he was originally released towards the very end of the red and black packaging. I think it was in the same wave as like Count Dooku and the Sith Jet Trooper. I'm trying to think what else there was. I know Count Dooku and Commander Bly were probably the more sought after ones. But it was around that time period, the very end of the red and black line. Overall, I think he's a pretty good action figure. He's not perfect. There is one or a couple things about him I don't think are great or Hasbro could improve upon. But overall, he's really good. And the one thing I'll note is his visor there. For some reason, it does not want to rest against his eyes at all. So if you have the visor down, I guess if you look at it forward, it's no big deal. But if you look at it from the top, it's totally separated from his helmet there. And I notice that seems to be a problem with a lot of the more recent clones that have a visor. And Captain Rex from the Bad Batch has that problem as well from the 4-pack. It never seemed to be a problem back in the 2000s at all. In fact, I'll bring out the Clone Wars Bly right now, and as you can see, it's pretty close to being flush with his helmet. And when it's all the way down, it's pretty close as well. So I think that's something that Hasbro does need to work on. Other than that, I think he's pretty good. He does not have a removable helmet, which is fine, I guess, for Commander Bly. I know some people would probably want one because of his appearance in the Clone Wars, which would be nice. It would be nice for Hasbro to give him another chance and then do that. But because this is Revenge of the Sith specific, we never see him without his helmet, so it's okay. Proportions are right. Paint apps look good. Does have a lot of scuffs. Interesting how they did that the paint on his armor there. So obviously Commander Bly's colors is not very consistent with Hasbro. Accurately, this is how it's supposed to be, I think. This Revenge of the Sith figure, where it has that brown stripe basically going down on his chin. It's not prevalent on this sample. I do think there is a variant where it does have that, but it's not very common. So once again, Hasbro has different colored variants for Commander Bly. But the brown stripe does go down on his chest there, and then it is prevalent on his thighs mainly and on his knees, which is accurate. Pauldron looks really good. The color on that is really nice as well. It's very unique. The paint on the helmet there, between his visor, I think they got that mostly good. It's a little bit off, as you can see at the edges here, but it's alright. They got the mouth right with the black lines in it. And he does have a lot of scuffs in his armor. So in terms of his articulation, he is super articulated as usual. He does have the ball joint at the head and the hinge at the shoulders. And he does have the Captain Rex elbows. so it does go way past 90 degrees, which is nice. He does have the hinge at the wrist, and hinge at the torso, and the hinge tips. Swivel cut at the thigh, then the double hinge at the knees, then the rocker ankles. I keep forgetting to mention for some of these clones, he does have the swivel at the bicep as well. It's not a very common point of articulation. It does seem to be something that's prevalent on a lot of these clones. In terms of his weapons and accessories, pretty basic for a clone. The DC-15 rifle, just a long rifle. He doesn't have the shorter one, and that's okay because this is the one we see him with in the movie. And then he does have the 2 pistols here as well, which are pretty standard. They do fit securely in his holster there. The belt looks really nice as well, especially with that yellow. But because he has those Captain Rex elbows, you can get him in a nice drawing pose. Something like that. Does have a lot of mud on his feet there. Could get him to hold his visor there as well. Make it look like he's putting it down. That's really nice. In fact, that might be the photo I make for the thumbnail. We'll see. But that's pretty much all I can tell you about Commander Bly. Pretty straightforward for a clone commander, but he was an essential one that we needed, and he was very welcome at the time he was released. At this time, all we really had was maybe Commander Gree and Commander Cody, and that was pretty much it. Maybe Captain Rex was out at this point, or he was around the corner. So we didn't have a lot of clone commander variety. And we still don't in some ways, but we got a little bit more. But it's nice to see Bly in the Black Series line. It's one of my favorite clone commanders. I'm glad I have all these samples of him in my collection. Phase 1 Clone Wars animated line. It's Phase 2 Revenge of the Sith appearance for both scales. And they all look really good together. Would I recommend Bly for your collection? I totally would. If you're a big fan of Clone Troopers, you're a big fan of Bly, the 327th. He pretty much checks all those boxes, and he's relatively affordable to get a hold of. Last I checked, I think he's usually in like the $30 range now, which is not bad at all for a Black Series figure, especially one that's not really in production or circulation at this point. So if you really want Bly in your collection, I would suggest you hop online or go to your local comic book store, see if they have them, and get them the first chance you can. And like I mentioned, the only thing I wish that they changed was they would make the visor where it can be a little more flush with his helmet. Other than that, he's pretty much a perfect action figure. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out some of the links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.